Another new initiative the Biden administration is rolling out is a plan to address domestic violence extremism in the United States. The Biden administration's plan includes 3 steps to address the issue, starting with a request for a comprehensive threat assessment from the FBI, the Department of Homeland Security, and the Office of the Director of National Intelligence. The second step calls for a policy review from the National Security Council on how to best streamline the federal government's countermeasures to confront domestic violent extremism. And finally, a mass coordination of federal government entities to enhance and accelerate their efforts. White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki said this month's Capitol riot cemented the threat of domestic violent extremism.
The January 6th assault on the Capitol and the tragic deaths and destruction that occurred underscored what we have long known. The rise of domestic violent extremism is a serious and growing national security threat. The Biden administration will confront this threat with the necessary resources and resolve. We are committed to developing policies and strategies based on facts, on objective and rigorous analysis, and on our respect for constitutionally protected free speech and political activities.
Joining us tonight on NewsNation to discuss the growing threat of domestic violent extremism in the United States, as well as the Biden administration's plan to confront it, is Dr. Errol Southers, director of the Same Communities Institute and Homegrown Violent Extremism Studies at the University of Southern California. Dr. Southers, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So the Southern Poverty Law Center, which monitors U.S. extremists, says it's recorded a 55% increase in the number of white nationalist hate groups since 2017. And we've seen a variety of recognized groups, the Oath Keepers, the Proud Boys, the Boogaloo Boys, the list goes on. And at the Capitol riot, we saw them all kind of come together to rally behind this claim of a stolen election. Did they have the potential to unify and create an even bigger organized threat?
Well, they did just that. You know, for months, they planned to be at the Capitol on January 6th to stop the certification of the Electoral College. As you mentioned, an incredibly diverse group of organizations that typically don't work together but coalesced that day, much like some of them did 3 years ago for the Charlottesville attack. So they are in a place right now where they're sort of standing by. I hate to use that term, but they are. They're stepping back because of the military and National Guard presence we had at all the capitals and a successful inauguration, sort of regrouping and reorganizing themselves to see what they do next, because many of them, as you probably know, who had tremendous faith in the outgoing president have now denounced him and really felt that he's let them down. So we'll have to see what happens next, but they haven't gone away.
So let's talk about the definition of terrorism, right? It's the unlawful use of violence and intimidation, especially against civilians, in the pursuit of political aims. So there's been criticism on the media and on law enforcement that they've been slow to call out domestic terrorism. As of 2019, Congress devoted about 20% of its counterterrorism resources to the domestic threat. So thinking about the recent events, such as the storming of the Capitol, do you classify that as terrorism, and do you agree with the criticism?
Well, I absolutely classify it as terrorism. You've checked all 3 boxes: the threat or use of violence, the attack on a civilian population or civilians, and for the civilians, that includes law enforcement officers, state and local here, and in furtherance of a political objective. So they do have all of the proper categories checked. The other thing I would say is that we often talk about the aggressiveness or lack of aggressiveness. Well, since 2002, domestic right-wing extremists, including white supremacists, have killed more people in this country than any other group. I would mention this, though. There are 51 federal crimes of terrorism that apply to domestic terrorism, plus the material support statute that has been used in domestic terrorism cases. So there are laws that would allow the federal government to prosecute. However, they typically don't. If we go back 25, 26 years, to Timothy McVeigh, he was not prosecuted as a terrorist. He was prosecuted for 168 counts of murder and detonating an explosive device at a federal building. And Dylan Roof was prosecuted for a hate crime. So they've not been aggressive, and they've not followed the patterns and trends and data that have been overwhelming with regards to what this threat really is.
The Department of Homeland Security under the Trump administration published a report last year saying white supremacists present the gravest terror threat to the United States. They said, quote, racially and ethnically motivated violent extremists, specifically white supremacist extremists, will remain the most and persistent and lethal threat in the homeland. So has this threat always existed? If so, why are we just now picking up on it? And if not, why has it been emboldened?
That's a great question. This threat has existed for the vast part of the last 2 decades. It was most notably documented in 2009 by the Department of Homeland Security's Intelligence and Analysis Unit, who talked about the right-wing extremist threat. Unfortunately, because it was right-wing extremists, and most notably, they identified the fact that these organizations would be targeting returning veterans from Iraq and Afghanistan to their ranks because of their skill sets. The report was tossed away. The unit was disbanded, and an apology was made to our troops by then Secretary Napolitano, who was Secretary of DHS, and everything went away. But unfortunately, they were right on target. As you mentioned, last year, the Department of Homeland Security came up with another assessment that said exactly the same thing. The FBI then echoed the same patterns and trends in their study. So it's just been one of denial, because since 9/11, we've had this laser focus on foreign threats, foreign fighters, international terrorism, because we want to believe that Americans can't target each other, when in fact, we're suffering the same kind of homegrown threat here as our European allies are overseas.
Dr. Earl Suthers, always a pleasure to have you on. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.